Do Wiccans have ethics, and why do we have ethics? That's the topic of this video today. And if you're new to the channel, hi, I'm Sandra from mysterywitchschool.com. If you want to become Wiccan or you want to study Wicca, hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so that you don't miss any videos. Wiccan ethics is a very interesting topic because you can interview many different Wiccans and they'll tell you different things about what our one so-called rule is, which is, and it harm none, do what they will. To do that completely, not harm a thing, it means you wouldn't even go outside and walk on the ground in case you stepped on an ant. That's the extreme of it. And that's certainly not really what it is about. It's a guideline that just says, think about what you do before you do it. The aim is not to harm anyone or anything, okay, if it's not necessary. Because as we know from beings that eat other beings, whether it's animal beings or plant beings, we do need to actually do some harm to survive. So we can't survive and not harm something. You know, even if it is a carrot that we've pulled out of the ground, we're still harming a plant being. Harming isn't something that can be totally avoided. And I think that's something that we need to understand, that unlike religions of the past, our ethics aren't like shoulds and shouldn'ts. They're not written in stone that say you should do this or you shouldn't do this because someone said so. It's about contemplating these ideas, these ideologies, and working out for yourself what the reality is for you. This is where progressive religion goes. So a lot of Wiccans like to stick to the past, and a lot of Wiccans like to stick to more rigid rules, and that's fine. Everybody has their thing. Some people like more flexibility, other people like more structure. It's just to do with our personality types and who we are. So certainly if some of the really more rigid structures of traditional Wicca feel better for you, then that's fine. But if you want to be more fluid, then you can be a bit more fluid as well within those parameters, and contemplate what that means. What does trying not to harm mean for you? Where are your boundaries with harming, and why are those boundaries there? What's your experience that informs you of what your boundaries are? Because everybody's going to have different boundaries. Wicca very much is against cursing. It's not something that is in our paradigm. We don't talk about, you know, cursing people or hexing people. It's a big thing that we try to avoid because we're not trying to harm anybody. We're really just trying to raise our consciousness, connect to ourselves, connect to nature, connect to spirit, and create a world that's harmonious and peaceful and calm for ourselves and other people around us. And we understand that if you're spending a lot of your time cursing and, you know, manipulating a lot of the time, you're not creating that calm peacefulness around yourself. Because the amount of anger that you need to harm somebody magically or even non-magically, the energy of resentment is toxic. The energy of revenge is also toxic to our system. It's toxic to our health, and it's toxic to our energy system. There's no cosmic police out there that are going to reward you or punish you for anything that you do. You know, the world is your oyster. You can do whatever you want. It's understanding that everything you do has a reaction. Every cause has an effect. And it's not that karma, as Westerners understand it, to be reward and punishment, because there is no reward and punishment. It's about the universe mirroring back what you're putting out. Because what we put out to the universe is like our request. It's magically, it's a request. So if we're always putting out those energies of resentment and harm, it doesn't reflect well back on us over a period of time. And we'll find ourselves in situations where more of those people are going to turn up in our lives, more of those situations are going to occur that make you feel like you need to lash out and do some baneful magic in order to rectify and fix. So you're going to find yourself doing that kind of magic more often, which means you have to put yourself back into those horrible emotional situations. And it's just not beneficial. And it's not that you shouldn't do these things. It's just not wise or beneficial to always be indulging in these things. And that's where the ethics comes in. That's where, as mature adults, we have to start getting away from shoulds and shouldn'ts and start feeling into what's actually making our lives happy and what isn't making our lives happy. What's bringing peace into our lives and what isn't bringing peace into our lives. And that's where the ethics comes. It's a time now, I think, in our consciousness where we have to leave the rules as guidelines and contemplate for ourselves how relative those rules are and why are they rules when really they should be more things that we realize for ourselves to be helpful to ourselves, as opposed to something that we have to rigidly follow. So this causes for more maturity in our approach to religion and a desire to be able to independently discern for ourselves what the right course of action is going to be for ourselves in the long term. So it's not even about the rule where you've got to think of the other person first. You've actually always got to think of yourself first and how whatever it is that you do is going to affect you in the long term. And be a bit selfish with it, because once you determine what works for you energetically, then it makes it easier for you to then make decisions when things do crop up that make you where you're required to make a decision. In most cases where there's an adversary, protection magic is really all you need, because that's the type of magic that actually helps protect you and work against the adversity. It's not so much that you even need to harm somebody to get them out of your way. Most of the time that wouldn't even be necessary. A lot of the attitude towards cursing and hexing that I see in Facebook groups is just for petty things. And I know that emotionally things don't feel petty. They'll feel very real and very heavy and really horrible. Like to go through a relationship breakup where someone's cheated on you is not a nice feeling. It's a horrible feeling. And of course you want revenge. It's natural. There's no judgment there. I would never judge anybody for the desire to have revenge in that situation. But how does it help you to actually cause revenge in that situation? And is that going to keep coming back? Each person, are you going to find that people are going to cheat on you more, or it's a common theme in your life, or there's some other ways that cheating thing turns up in your life because you haven't dealt with the shadow work to make you more empowered to not be as pushed, your buttons pushed, when that situation arises. So as angry as you may be with a person that cheats on you, as upset and hurtful as it is, the more you love yourself and the more in tune and the more you accept yourself, the less that bothers you. It doesn't even bother you as much. Yes, you feel betrayed, but you're not going to beat yourself up for it. You're not going to go into self-doubt for it. You're just going to look at the situation and go, well, obviously that person isn't the right person for me. I deserve better. Off you go with your new person, and you'll probably end up doing the same thing to them anyway. and actually really be empowered to not even be as manipulated by their behavior. This is where the shadow work comes in, okay? This is why being empowered within yourself is so important. Now, of course, there's situations, dire situations, where you may be dealing with a narcissist or a psychopath, when there really are dire circumstances where magic does have to get heavier. But most circumstances where people are feeling like they need to throw a curse really is more to do with the fact that the more inner work you do and the more that you can really come to accept yourself and understand yourself and raise your consciousness, the more empowered you are on the inside, the more empowered you'll be on the outside. And that way then you can make these decisions in a way that's actually going to bring you more peace in the long term, rather than more of the same crap coming back. So it's not about judgment, it's about being discerning and making the choices that are going to help you in the long term. That's why I'm so big on the shadow work, and why I work with people working on those shadow parts of themselves, so that your buttons aren't pushed so much, and so that you can find more peace and harmony and stand up for yourself in ways that really help you, and at the same time bring more positive energy to you. So it's not about being a doormat, it's about standing up for yourself in ways that you really are assertive and not having your buttons pushed by other people. Because when you're feeling angry at somebody and you're blaming them for yourself feeling angry, when somebody's doing something and you're feeling hurt by it, that person's got power over you, because you're letting them affect you. If you've done more shadow work, even though you may feel some hurt, you know that the only way to take back your power is to not be hurt, is to overcome that hurt within yourself. So that person no longer has power over you. So that's where the shadow work is. That's more my take on Wiccan ethics, and where I think that Wicca should be going in regards to being a progressive religion, as opposed to one fossilizing in the past like so many others do. It's also why I offer free clarity sessions to help people with your shadow work. If you're seriously thinking about wanting to work one-on-one with somebody to help you through some of this stuff, then I offer a free clarity session so that we can talk about what's going on, and if you want to do some work, we can do that. And why I've also got other videos on this channel about shadow work as well. So I'll pop the link to my calendar in the description field below if you want to book a 30-minute clarity session to talk about some of the shadow stuff. We can certainly get together and do that. And shadow work's also a big part of the Mystery Witch School 101 course that I offer. It's part of the Wiccan training as far as I'm concerned, because it helps with your magic and it helps with your connection to yourself, to the universe, and to nature as well. So if you like this video, hit the like button, share it with your friends. Don't forget to subscribe. I'm Sandra from mysterywitchschool.com. Blessed be.